think at the moment we're hitting moments where people react to what's happening on that time. There'll be a lot of people shouting because he's gone and scored 2 goals against Wales. But Saka scored 2 goals as well in the first game. In the next game, the team struggled. Marcus Rashford done some good things last night. Maybe he should have had a hat-trick, to be fair, because the one in the first half he should have scored. But I think if we're talking about Gareth Southgate and the way he has set his stall out, he was virtually talking about form for his team. And that means that Saka should play in the next game against Senegal. And that's the way it's worked. That's how we stuck with it. Question it or not, it's worked in a certain way because England have won the group. Saka was in his first lineup, which means he sticks in there. So I wouldn't be surprised if he starts with Saka. I don't think a lot of people would be surprised. There'd be still people who would call because Rashford has done something which is at the tip of everybody's tongue. It's there in their heads. It was against Wales as well, so that will stick in their heads. But I think if you're looking at form in the national team, then you'd have to say that Saka sticks in the head of Southgate before Rashford. Walker was always going to be a regular starter in a 3, maybe he's one of the 3, or could be wing back, or he's in a back 4. If it's a back 4, I would have always said Kyle Walker because of his recovery pace. Now, if you're talking about playing, if you're going to take it a step further for England against France, as it could be, you're talking about Mbappe, and Kyle Walker's the one to match his pace if pace is needed. We know Mbappe is talented with the ball. He's not a kick and run player. So he's going to have to defend, with his brain as well as his legs. So you're looking at someone to match pace. Kyle Walker's a person. If you're looking at someone to defend 1-on-1, then you're going to have to maybe still go with Kyle Walker because I'm not sure of the credentials of Trippier defending 1 against 1. I know he can't. I know he ain't going to win the race for pace, but I don't know if he's that good to defend 1 against Mbappe. But if we're looking at the game now, it wouldn't surprise me because Gareth Southgate made a substitution near the back end of that game against Wales, and he brought in Trippier and he put him at left back. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if Kyle Walker starts in the next game at right back and Trippier starts at left back. So I think he'll be thinking about dead ball situations, what Trippier can offer. He's got a lot more to offer there. Defensively, is he as good as Luke Shaw? I would say it's a contest. It'd be interesting. Which is the better? I don't think there's anyone sticking out. If we're on about an attacking side, then Luke Shaw's always got that because he's got a left foot on that side of the field. But I think at the moment, if you're just looking at Southgate and is looking at a steady back 4, I think Trippier on the left, Kyle Walker on the right. The one who sticks out, who has really stepped forward, who has improved since he started playing regularly, it's got to be Casemiro. He's doing incredible things. I didn't realise there was more to his game. All I'd done with Casemiro was watch him play for Real Madrid, and all he was a man with a job. And he gave it to the players around him, and he had an array of talent around him. But at United, he has stepped forward because he hasn't got that same quality he has, and all of a sudden you can see the quality that he's got. And you're seeing his quality even more so in the Brazil side as well. You can see his leadership and everything there, and the way he plays football as well. He plays football with kind of, in certain ways, he plays with a bit of a smile on his face as well. There's no aggression in there, but you can see a bit of arrogance, good arrogance in the way he plays. He believes his ability. He's everything that Graham Souness tried to say he wasn't, as far as I'm concerned. He's definitely proved his worth already to Manchester United fans, and I think he's proved his worth to the players and to everybody who has seen Manchester United play in the previous month to 6 weeks, and just as well now watching him play in his national shirt, you can see he's a really good player. him trying to claim it and take a goal away from his teammate doesn't bode well, to be perfectly honest. And then the federation, the Portuguese Football Federation, trying to get a goal for him. But they need to, look in the mirror and really wonder what they are all about. Are they there for the whole of the federation, the Football Federation? That's for the office staff and for the players, for everyone. Or are they only there for one man's purpose? I had to laugh at it, not believing that it was true that he tried to do it. I look at his celebrations after, and you could see he wanted that goal badly, wanted that goal. I'm sure it's quite disappointing for him that Bruno Fernandes is at the moment is Portugal's top goal scorer. And the way Fernandes has played so far in the tournament, he deserves to be in that position because he's really shown it. You've seen a different player. I've not seen one tantrum from him, which is incredible for him to go three games in and he hasn't thrown a tantrum. Is that right? Yeah, it's 3 games, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, he's done incredible. So he's a different person when he plays for his country than when he plays for United. But Ronaldo, given everything that's happened prior to the tournament, he hasn't helped himself. If the Football Federation has said, if you touched it, we'll fight for you, they must have asked a question and they've believed him because he must have said, I did touch it. So they've gone with him. They haven't made that up their own mind. So that says a lot about him. And to be honest, the Football Federation say, it doesn't make any difference. We won the game. Isn't that good enough for you? You can see what he's about. It's a real shame, really, that that you're having to talk about something like this. But when you're in the public eye and you've gone and done something which has been shown all over the world, and then all of a sudden you react by trying to take a goal off a teammate, then there you are. The small things will be scrutinised nowadays. The one thing he will find is after watching, the Saudi Arabians play, it's not going to be easy for him. Now, for that kind of money they're paying, they're not paying for the football. They're paying for all the the PR that he's going to have to do. And then he's got to justify that when he plays football, he's going to show his worth. And there's a reason why people from Saudi Arabia do not play out of Saudi Arabia, because they get well paid to play there. And so the league is going to be very, very competitive. Is it going to be easy for him? Not in a million years. There's always a good chance that he might regret doing it when he finds out the hard work he's going to have to do when he gets there. Because just by looking at Saudi Arabia and the way they play, it's going to be seriously, seriously tough for him. And if he's going to go and earn that kind of money, fair play to him. But I just wonder how he's going to spend it all. He hasn't got enough. There isn't enough time in his lifetime to spend all of that. So it's a good time to be in the family of a Ronaldo at this moment in time. He comes on a sub when they're chasing games. So if you're always bringing him on as a sub when you're chasing, you say to yourself, isn't it better to start with him? And I saw the last game they played, both the Hazards were playing, weren't they? And he can't get a game, and he's been one of the best players in the Premier League for this first half of the season, and yet he can't get in that team. And so I just look at that team and I just wonder, the manager Martinez, does he feel under pressure to play all the kind of big players, the experienced players? Does he feel he has to play them? Is he strong enough? He doesn't seem strong enough to say, sorry, this isn't working. I need to start bringing in through younger players, because the only way he maybe, if he'd have done it a while ago, kept his job, was integrate younger players with the experienced players so there'd be more energy in the team. And you've seen it already. They are looking like a team of old men. The two centre-halves playing together. They've been around for years. They were both quality as a pair at Tottenham. They were maybe at one point the best in the Premier League as a pairing. Now as a national team pairing, and both of them aren't playing for top-level clubs playing top-level football, then no, there isn't an edge about them. So defensively, they're poor. You look at them in midfield, they rely on De Bruyne. but he needs help. He needs players around him because his strength is about when he's got time to look up or know where space is to put the ball in areas for people to attack it. And he hasn't got that. Batshuayi is not that player. Is Lukaku that player? You have to go by his form before his injury, and you have to say no. When I see Lukaku as well on the bench and coaching as well, that tells me there's a problem. A manager allowing one of his players to coach off the bench as well, telling other players what to do, is not really a good show for any manager. I like Pulisic. There's something about him, and you can see it. You know that Chelsea is unhappy because he's, maybe it's not about playing regularly, but he would expect to be utilised a lot more than what he has been. And every time he mostly is coming on, he feels he's got to always prove a point. And in the end, players run out of steam doing that. They can't fulfil that obligation anymore. They lose that little bit within is taken away. So he does need a change. He needs a little bit of revitalising. You would have said of old, Chelsea wouldn't allow it to happen because they'd mostly be worried that he could go to a bigger club and all of a sudden his game just goes bang, and fans will question things, media will question it. So I just wonder, when you get him, you look at him, you think to yourself, he can play through the middle, as we've seen already with USA. He can do a job through there. Not as an out-and-out centre forward, but you've got someone who can keep a ball. Somebody who can run behind, as we saw with the who's willing to run behind, as we saw with the goal. We saw with the goal last night that he scored. So could I see it happening? I could understand why it would happen at this moment if you're looking at a loan. So, if you can't get your target until the summer, would I discount it? No, I wouldn't. Would I want it? Would I agree with it? I think I would, because I quite like him, and just for the fact of him to come across to the UK, to have gone to Chelsea, is for him is brilliant. For the club and for him as a person, and I think for the country, for the USA football. I'm going to use the word football, not soccer. I think it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant for them. They love the fact of a player going to a top side in the Premier League, but I think they would love it even more, their football federation, if Pulisic, their top player, was to get a move to go to Manchester United. That would help lift the brand even more of the of American football. American football, but I mean the proper football, not the one where they use their hands. With a Dutch manager, which Manchester United have, who would know all about him from when he's been up against him as an Ajax manager, he would have a very good idea how to utilise him in the best way for Manchester United. So if he's on about, if he's around to say he plays on the right-hand side, you'll turn around and say, why are you going to go and get him? You've already got Anthony already there. So you're not going to go and put him under pressure. I'm not seeing a lot of him on the left-hand side on a regular basis. So he likes it on his right side. So again, if they've been talking about him for ages, if that's the deal that you can't sign him in January, then you look at it again, the Pulisic one could be right. I think he needs another crack at it. I think maybe he come to United at the wrong time. For him, maybe he was too young, because discipline-wise, I think was one of the issues socially, and maybe the way he conducted himself with his clothing and his manner. So he's not had regular football. He must want it. But when I watched him, when he plays, you can see that he can play through the middle. He can play through the middle, not as an out-and-out centre forward, but you can see he enjoys going and playing in the middle because he can go either side. And he's a strong lad as well, a really strong physical lad. So he's another player, that again United have to look at, because you've got to look at where their weakness lies at the moment. Two areas have been strengthened considerably since Ten Hag's come back, and the one area he hasn't been able to maybe service as well as he likes is the front line, and the bit in the middle is the problem bit in the middle. They've got a lot of midfield players, but they haven't got enough quality. Haven't got enough quality to fall back on. So when you look in central midfield, you know that they still need something else, not maybe always to play week in, week out, because when you look at Fernandes' form for his national team, you think to yourself, you're kind of going, wow, the way he's playing, you can't dismiss him, even though I would say sometimes for me, discipline-wise, he lets United down. When things ain't going right, the way he conducts himself, I'm really hoping that he can bring everything about him, his body language, his discipline, with and without the ball. He can bring all that with him when he comes back, when he plays his first game for United on Boxing Day. You look at Eriksen, you think he's been brilliant for Manchester United, what he's added. Casemiro has got better and better because he needs to be playing regularly. And I think the manager's seen that and brought him in and kept him in. So you look at, do they need someone else if one of those three? And you have to say yes. I think you do need someone of note, of quality to come in, because you can't carry, you look at Eriksen, you look how his age, where he's at, if he gets something. And even Casemiro has played a lot of football, a lot of big football. You look what he's where he is as well. So sometimes you might just want to take the pressure off and know you can bring someone in who can do that job as well, can go in there and hold his own. And at the moment, United haven't got that as such. Fred could go and do a job. But for United, you need more than that. You can't have those kind of players. You need someone who goes in, and then if he does too well, you'd love the option of saying, well, who am I going to bring back? I'm going to play him, but I'm going to have to leave out Casemiro or Fernandes or an Eriksen. And that's where a club like Manchester United should be.